You know, every now and then in sports, you get these nights that, well, they just don't fit into a neat little box. Nights where winning feels a bit hollow and losing somehow feels like a victory. Well, tonight, we're diving into one of those stories.
Yeah, rip-roaring. That is honestly the perfect word for it. Because while Tottenham Hotspur did get knocked out of the Champions League, they didn't just quietly slip away. Oh no, they went out in a blaze of glory that left anyone watching absolutely breathless.
So, let's get right into that question, because that paradox, it perfectly captures the heart, the chaos, and, in the end, the beautiful failure of this incredible match.
To really get the glory of this defeat, you first have to understand the crisis they were in. This wasn't a team just looking for a win. This was a club that was teetering right on the brink of a total collapse.
It all started here, a shambolic 5-2 loss in Madrid. Now facing a 3-goal deficit, that's the aggregate, the combined score over 2 games, against a team as tough as Atletico. Well, that's not just climbing a hill, it's scaling a mountain. The hole Spurs had dug for themselves was just immense.
And the crisis ran so much deeper than just one bad result. I mean, look at this. The club was being pulled apart at the seams. An 8-match winless run, a staggering 11 players out with injuries. The manager's job was hanging by a thread. And belief? After that 5-2 drubbing, belief was basically non-existent.
And yet, despite all of that, as the whistle blew in North London, the fight began. A tiny, almost impossible glimmer of hope started to peek through all that darkness.
And that spark came almost right away, just 6 minutes in. A huge let-off for Spurs as an Atletico goal gets chalked off for offside. That seemed to wake them up. This young forward, Mathys Tel, started creating chance after chance, and you could feel the belief building. And then, at the 30-minute mark, the pressure paid off. A perfect cross from Tel finds Randal Kolo Muani, who heads it home. 1-0 Spurs.
So, at halftime, the aggregate score is now 5-3. Still a massive challenge for sure, but it didn't feel impossible anymore. You could literally feel the belief returning to the stadium. The comeback was no longer a joke. It was a real, genuine possibility.
And okay, if the first half was a glimmer of hope, the second half was just pure chaos. Hope, heartbreak, and sheer adrenaline all packed into 45 minutes. You're going to want to strap in for this part.
And then, just moments after the restart, the sucker punch. Julián Álvarez finds the sliver of space and just unleashes an absolute rocket into the top corner. And just like that, all the hope that had been so carefully built, it evaporated in an instant. A brutal, clinical finish. But then, just 5 minutes later, this. An instant, stunning reply. Xavi Simons gets the ball and unleashes an absolute beauty, curling it in from 25 yards out. The stadium just erupts. The hope is back on. So at this moment, with the aggregate score now 6-4 and all the momentum with Spurs, you have to wonder, was it on? Was this impossible, miraculous comeback actually going to happen? The feeling in the air was just electric. And then, the final heartbreak. A simple corner kick. A brief lapse in concentration. Dávid Hancko rises up and heads it in for Atletico. At 7-4 on aggregate with only 15 minutes left, yeah, the dream was over. You could feel the air just get sucked out of the stadium. The tie was done.
Which brings us to our final chapter, pride in defeat. Because with the tie lost, the team still had one last battle to fight, the one for their own respect. And you know what? They fought it beautifully.
And this is the crucial part. Even with the tie gone, they refused to quit. Deep into stoppage time, a debutant wins a penalty. Xavi Simons steps up and coolly tucks it away. They secured a 3-2 win on the night. They went down, but they went down swinging.
And that victory meant something more. It extended their unbeaten home record in Europe to an incredible 25 matches. So even in elimination, they still managed to defend their fortress.
In the crowd, they recognized that fight. There were no boos when they were eliminated. Instead, the team was applauded off the pitch. The fans saw a broken team with technically nothing left to play for give absolutely everything they had. They had won back the respect of their supporters.
Which leaves us with one final thought. Was this night, this glorious 3-2 defeat, a genuine turning point for a club in crisis? Or was it just a beautiful, rip-roaring footnote in a season of failure? You know, maybe the answer doesn't even matter, because sometimes how you lose is just as important as whether you win.